a child disappeared from one of the most famous homes in America. Rumors had been spreading for weeks in Hopewell, New Jersey, about an unspeakable wrong at one of the most famous addresses in America. Charles A. Lindbergh, the golden-hearted aviator who had crossed the Atlantic in 1927, and his wife Anne had been living under an odd protective glare. Then, in the night of March 1st, 1932, the unthinkable happened. Their 20-month-old son, Charles Augustus Lindbergh Jr., vanished from his second-floor nursery. The story that followed read like a fever dream. A ransom note, crude handwriting, a homemade ladder leaning against the windowsill, fragments of evidence that showed a calculated daring. The kidnappers demanded $50,000, and as dawn broke on a nation grappling with the Depression, newspapers fed a public hungry for detail. Reporters camped outside the Lindbergh home. Rumors metastasized into obsession. The family's privacy disappeared under the bright, accusatory light of headlines. Police and private detectives swarmed. The case exposed the limits of local law enforcement. The crime cut across state lines and national attention. Investigators improvised. They tracked ransom bills by serial numbers. They studied the ladder's wood, the scattered footprints, and the ransom notes' awkward phrases. The nation waited. In April, the Lindberghs paid what they hoped would secure their child's return. Gold certificates handed over under tense, furtive conditions. But hope crumbled on May 12, 1932, when a construction worker found the small, battered body of a child in a wooded area not far from the Lindbergh estate. The coroner recorded a skull fracture. A nation grieved. The tragedy accelerated history. Public outrage and the perceived impotence of local authorities led to a radical response. Congress passed the Federal Kidnapping Act that summer, making kidnapping a federal offense whenever the victim was taken across state lines. The Lindbergh Law was born of anger and fear. The investigation staggered on. For 2 years, the trail twisted and cooled until 1934, when police arrested Bruno Richard Hauptmann, a German immigrant and carpenter living in the Bronx. Investigators pointed to a chain of circumstantial evidence. Bills from the ransom were allegedly found in his possession. A plank from his attic matched wood used in the ladder. Handwriting experts said the ransom notes resembled Hauptmann's script. The nation watched the trial in 1935 as if at a theater of doom. Testimony cascaded. Forensic claims were aired like gospel, and Hauptmann proclaimed his innocence to the end. Convicted of murder and kidnap, he was executed in Trenton on April 3, 1936. Even after the verdict, the case never settled. It became a tangle of conspiracy and counterclaims. Critics pointed to sloppy crime scene procedures, suggestive interrogation tactics, and overzealous media influence. Handwriting analysis, then a nascent science, was contested. Some argued Hauptmann had been an accomplice or a convenient scapegoat. Others proposed that the kidnapping had been staged, or that other hands had played darker roles. The Lindberghs themselves were dragged into rumor, questions about private security lapses, and the odd social position of the family fanned speculative fires. What endures is less a tidy resolution than a catalog of consequences. The kidnapping shredded any illusion that celebrity could shield a family. It forced federal involvement in violent crime, changed investigative techniques, and birthed a modern, sometimes ugly, relationship between the press and justice. For Bruno Hauptmann's defenders, the case remains an emblem of possible miscarriage. For others, it is a grim example of how a single, ghastly act can rewrite law and memory. In the decades since, historians, writers, and forensic investigators have revisited the evidence in the claims, producing biographies, documentaries, and heated debate. The child's grave and the pages of court transcripts are quiet now, but the questions about culpability, about proof, about how a nation under strain chooses to punish linger. The Lindbergh kidnapping stands as a true-life crime that did more than shock. It reshaped American law, journalism, and the public imagination, leaving a complicated legacy that still refuses a single, clean answer.